What's up? How y'all doing, man? This your boy AJ of the Deep Thought. Back at it again with a brand new video, man. You know what I'm saying? You already know what it is. I ain't finna waste no time on it, man. If you like my channel and you want to support the page, you hit that like button and the subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? And always remember to hit that post bell notification if you like my content or if you respect the content. So now, I ain't finna waste no time. Today, I wanna do like a small reaction video of another YouTuber. Well, not a reaction, it's just my perspective of the whole matter. It's a YouTuber, well-known YouTuber, Curtis King TV. Shout out to the brother Curtis King TV. You know what I'm saying? He made a video talking about Wayno. You know, Wayno, if you know who Wayno is a well-known, I think he's a hip-hop journalist. He was part of the show Everyday Struggle with Joe Budden and Ack, you know what I'm saying, at that time frame. And he talks about hip-hop and maturity. He talks about rappers need to mature in hip-hop. There's no maturity in hip-hop. And I just wanted to give my sentiments about this topic. Everything that I do and use is under the fair use. So we finna go ahead and check this video out. Like I said before, shout out to Curtis King TV for the video. Let's go.
This really is a timely message, and unfortunately it got met upon a lot of deaf ears when it dropped. Wayno, who is well known within the music industry, has an experience with working with Rockefeller Records. He's been a manager. He's been someone who's been very tapped into the music industry and understands it from an interesting point of view. He had this to say about how he wishes that hip hop matures.
You know, we were talking about music as a whole, and something that you had said, another tweet of yours, is that there's just no more maturity in hip hop. It's all just kiddie shit.
Yeah.
Now, what do you mean by that? Like, what did, like, not to do the Drewski shit, like, what do you mean by that?
So to be clear, he made a tweet basically saying,
Now this is what Wayno said in his tweet back in April 28th of 2023, which says there's no maturity in hip hop. It's just all kiddie-ish. That's what he said. I don't think a lot of people really caught on to what he said, but I think some people had react to it per se. So I'm gonna just talk about it. Let's check out the rest of the video.
saying that there's like no maturity in hip hop. You don't hear the maturity within the music.
What's going on in your brain when you're saying something like that? Because I feel like that deserves a longer answer.
Yeah, I can unpack it for you. I think that, like, all right, what I meant by that is this, right? Like, when we knew that our favorite artist was approaching, like, 30 years old, we were looking for, like, certain type of content in their music, a certain type of substance in their music. Like, not to tell us to be, like, the biggest adult, right? Because we're all growing. Like, you never stop growing up. You know what I mean? But at the same time, like, you look at artists and you look at their perspectives and you look at a lot of them who became successful, and it happened in the early 20s. So most of the 50 Cents, the Nas's, the Jay-Z's, shit, I go as far to say like a Juicy J, you know what I mean? Like a Snoop Dogg, you know what I mean? A Master P, or Bone Thugs, all these people I grew up listening to, they kind of shifted when it came to what they were talking about, or not necessarily how they dress. Because I think I'm going to dress how I dress for the rest of my life. I'm never going to not wear Jordans.
Right.
He makes a really valid point in that the artists that you grow up with, they sound a certain way, right? You're listening to them and they're talking about subject matter that relates to them at their current age. All of that is probably the reason why we gravitate towards them as listeners and become fans of their music and their message. As they start to approach their 30s, as they start to become a more seasoned human being, even on a scientific level, as their brain fully develops at 25, there's certain perspectives that just don't make sense to them anymore. Certain things you're not going to hear from Jay-Z at 35 that he was rapping about at 25. That's just the natural evolution of music. However, we're in this weird melting pot of time where artists are still trying to compete with not only the younger version of them, but younger artists who are doing the younger topics better than they could do it in this current stage because they're not that age. And he's asking for, like, look, there's certain things in hip hop culture, like the way I dress, that are going to be like that forever because that's just who I identify with.
And I'm going to answer all of this coming towards the end of this video. But I'm going to just let the video ride out. so y'all can hear it, and I will tell you how I feel about the whole subject matter in a minute. Let's go.
Right? That's how I want to represent myself. But there's certain things in terms of the subject matter that just needs to advance.
Never gonna not wear Supreme or streetwear. Like, that's just how I like to dress. But I think that there was a point in time where, you know, it was an aspect of maturity. It was an aspect when artists talked about things that was going on in their lives.
Facts.
And it was a different insight than when it was 10 years prior. And I feel like now I see it's a lot of these artists that they acting like they 21, but they really 29 or 30.
Bill Haben,
My
I believe
bad.
that it was heaven sent.
My bad on that. Let's get back to the rest of the video.
Genres are given. Why are we not given the same grace that other genres are given? Why are we not given the same light and shine when an artist does make that pivot? Now, there are exceptions to the rule. There's always exceptions to the rule. He mentioned some of them. When you talk about a Snoop Dogg has went from making like most classic gangster rap hip hop records in the history of hip hop to making a gospel album, making a Rastafarian inspired album, then performing at the White House. To me, that's a video game arc. Like, that's what you hope your My Career player on 2K, you hope they can have that kind of a career where they
Facts.
get every damn record. Snoop
Facts.
is living that. He's been given that grace. But I feel like across the board, there are so many OGs in hip hop, and I meet many of them in my doing my shows and opening up for them. And I can see when I talk to them, I can hear when I talk to them. They see that the climate has changed so much, and people only want one era of them that they fell in love with. They don't give them the same grace to grow.
Facts. Facts, 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 and facts, which starts with my first point. I feel like in hip hop and hip hop only, we are the only genre where a person really can't grow to their full potential. Like, let's say I give you a perfect example of that. Like, you know, when people do these debates about, you know, like Kendrick, Cole, Drake per se, they always do these debates like, who is the greatest, who is the best of their generation? Is it Drake? Is it Cole? Is it Kendrick? And you can clearly see that all three of these particular artists have changed in their ways. Cole changed from how he started in 2010 to how he is now in 2023. Kendrick changed in his ways from 2010 all the way to where he is now in 2023. Same goes for Drake. They all was able to change. You know what I'm saying? And I give you another example. Jeezy. Remember Jeezy back in the day? Jeezy, you know, Trap or Die, that whole era. Now Jeezy, he ain't talking about trapping the dying no more. He dropped the young out his name, and he's all about business. You know, he a whole different person now. Now, I'm sure he gonna still do the music that made him, but he's not doing it more often than he used to, because he had a certain level in his life and his maturity that he don't have to talk about trapping the dying no more. That ain't the end all be all no more. He's on a whole nother plane. He's married. He got a baby. So it's different. And I feel like a person just got to have a chance to grow. If you don't give them a chance to grow, how in the hell can you say they not mature? But I digress from that. Let's watch the rest of the video.
But it's interesting how some artists feel like they almost have to talk about this shit or they won't be able to support their livelihood.
Or approaching 30, and their music isn't shifting. You know what I mean? They're still talking about the same shit. They're not growing up in their music. They're not adding any perspective. And I just think overall as a people, because everybody on social media is trying to be so in, they're not growing up. You know what I mean? They're just simply not fucking growing up. You know what I mean? Like, even to an extent to myself, it's like, you know, I love to get on, like, my favorite pastime is getting on 2K and playing the game. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I love to do. But, you know, there's people who say, oh, when you 40, like, you 40? Why you playing a game? So if I'm 40 and why I'm playing a game, why the fuck is you rapping about killing somebody and you ain't shot a gun or caught it, like, you ain't in the streets no more? So why the fuck is you still have that perspective?
When I went on tour with Murs, I never forget, he met a fan Okay, it's a female fan. She was a fan of his from the 90s. She brought her daughter to the show, who was a fan of his songs because they're speaking about relationships, his newer songs. Then her little sister was becoming a fan of it because now she's starting to get into boys. When you're making music that's evergreen, you're given that kind of grace. But I think that you have a lot of artists who feel like they are in competition with these younger artists who are only rapping about what they're going through. When I look at the artists that do have careers now, you're seeing artists, it's crazy. You're seeing so many artists that are canceling their tours. You know who's selling out their tours? I saw a meme going around. The Nas's, these very classic hip hop based artists who have continued to evolve and find creative ways. The thing about it, it just doesn't.
I'm glad he said that. Nas, I'm going to stay right here on Nas for a minute. Nas showed you what happens when you can reinvent yourself as an artist. Now, we all know Nas had his ups and downs in the rap game. In the music industry, he done had his ups and downs. But Nas has been able to reinvent himself with the King's Disease and the Magic albums. He's been able to reinvent himself. With Hit Boy, he has been able to reinvent himself. I feel like a lot of these artists, they not ready to reinvent themselves. You have to be at a certain point in your life, no matter if it's musical or otherwise, to be able to reinvent yourself. Because, again, I just got finished making a video talking about people are getting tired of the same old stuff over and over again from new artists to new artists. And they getting tired of it from the same artists as well. They tired of hearing about you rap niggas sliding on something, spinning the block on something, pull up on something. You know what I'm saying? They tired of hearing that. That gets old after a while. So while a lot of the artists who are the most popular don't sell out shows, Nas is, you got artists like a Nas, a OG by the way, been doing this thing for over 30 plus, 20 summers. Still selling out shows like it's 1995 or something. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about reinventing yourself. If you don't reinvent yourself as an artist, how can you say you grown? How can you say you truly grown? That's just my perspective. But let's keep watching the rest of the video.
Fall on the subject matter. You can't be bringing beat styles from 2001 and yell at the people on your lawn about why they don't respect real hip hop and real music. You got to tap into some of their sonics. Their sonics have changed. Their eating habits have changed. Their environments have changed. These kids are not the same kids as what we were in our generation. Facts. With that said, we're not the same kids that were the generation before us. Facts. Something to think about.
You ain't even been nowhere near the fucking hood, nor is you trying to be. So why you keep rapping about that? I feel like it's
I feel like they have to.
I just think that the skill set is set very, very low now. So it's like it's easy to do that. It's easy to do what you know and not challenge yourself to do something higher, you know what I'm saying, or elevate a bit. You know
I love the points that Wayno brings up, and I think this is where, as DIYers, it falls on us. DIY. You can do what you want. You now, in this age, you can do what you want. Curtis, I can't do what I want because when I do what I want, it doesn't get a whole lot of numbers. Well, if you're getting a lot of numbers doing nonsense or things that are detached from who you are, at one point in time, didn't that start with zero interest in what you're doing? Didn't you have to build upon that? I think there's a lot of adults who don't want to have to start all over, including me. As you're
And I'm going to stop it right here and I'm going to go and wrap up this video. The brother Curtis King just made a perfect point, which actually helps with the last point I just made not too long ago. A lot of people do not want to reinvent themselves. Nas shows you that you can reinvent yourself as an artist and still sustain after 30 years in the game. Same goes for a Snoop Dogg. Hell, Ice Cube. Ice Cube shows you how you can reinvent yourself as a, not just as an artist, but as a businessman and still have substance in the game. I feel like a lot of artists today do not want to reinvent themselves once they get to a certain level. It's like once they at that level that they at, they want to stay there, and they feel like the only way to stay there, I got to keep doing the same old songs. No, man, you got to reinvent yourself sooner or later. Because eventually, people are going to get tired of the same old, same old. If you keep, it's like this here. If you eat chicken every single day, Let's say you had to eat chicken every day for one whole year. You can't eat nothing else. You can't eat no junk food. You can't eat no vegetables. You just eat chicken. All you eat is chicken. It don't matter if you eat it grilled, if you eat it fried, if you eat it baked, or if you like to put it in a pot. You have to eat chicken. Eventually, you're going to get sick and fucking tired of chicken. That's exactly what a rap game is at today, because everybody's getting fed the same kind of chicken from different people, but ain't getting nothing switched with it. And until people understand that you're going to have to do more than serve people chicken. And I understand, chicken is very popular. Everybody loves chicken, but eventually people get tired of this shit, and you get sick from it. And that's how I feel about the rap game of today. People are getting tired of being fed the same old, and they want something different and new. Just as long as you stay to yourself and stay true to yourself, you can be able to sustain in this game and in this business. And that's that on that. So yeah, man, that's the video. Shout out to the brother Curtis King TV, man, for the video. You know what I'm saying? Y'all show love to his channel and his page. I will leave his links down in the description below if you want to check out the video for yourself. This your boy AJ of the Deep Thought signing off. Peace and one love.